Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Nick Padone. No Chris McNeil this week. It is a holiday weekend we are coming off of, and he is and he enjoyed that with the kids and everything.
He enjoyed it down there in Columbus. We didn't make Chris make the big drive up this week.
Yeah.
The reflog machine got the week off, Gab.
Did you wear green in honor of his Diet Mountain Dew?
I did. We didn't have the Diet Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Lightning, whatever the hell, he decides to bring in here on any given week. I think this is a good time for us to maybe game plan now that he's not here. Maybe next week bring him some water or something.
This entire 2024 is dedicated to Operation Wean Chris McNeil off of the hard stuff, being all that diet weird knockoff Mountain Dew that he drinks.
Yeah.
At room temperature, nonetheless.
I feel like we've tried a couple different remedies. We've tried putting them on blast, on the show out of nowhere, calling them out. Hasn't worked.
We should start doing pranks. Like I'll bring in a huge Mountain Dew thing, but fill it with water that's colored green. And
that's a good one.
Notices.
I feel like just the bottle isn't it because Mountain Dew bottle's kind of tinted. Right. Honestly, just regular water in there might do the trick.
Nah, he's too savvy. he's
drank
every brand under the sun. He'd know immediately.
Yeah. Because that is kind of hard too with the carbonated bottle. When you open it, it gives you that little pop.
Oh, so it'd have to be fizzy water.
It'd have to be fizzy water.
I need to just replace it with a fizzy water. He's got to give. You know what? Not to plug a brand, but there are these healthy pops that have a brand that's Mountain Dew. No, they don't. No, it's ginger ale. Never mind. But I could replace it with that.
Yeah, a little bit healthier.
Yeah, a little bit healthier.
Kind of push them in that direction. I like it.
Anyway,
what a crazy week. Got a lot going on in Cleveland sports. Got a packed show for you guys today. We'll be joined by Browns rookie receiver Jamari Thrash for a fun interview presented by Garage Beer. We'll be joined by Jensen Lewis, as we are every week on the show. That'll be a lot of fun. Gardos are hot. Man, just a lot of fun. Fun week kind of that we just put past us with the City Connect jerseys. JB Bickerstaff got fired, Gab.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Kind of crazy, kind of sad. I think I see a lot of fans because just the world of social media, and a lot of people wanted JB fired. And I think that was the right move. And I think the Cavs are better off for it. But right when it happened, I don't know, just the human piece of me was just damn, that somebody lost their job today.
Right.
And it was very publicly. JB Bickerstaff very publicly lived out one of the worst days of his professional career this past week. So I hate to see that. But from an actual basketball standpoint, Gab, I think it was something that was needed. I think it made the Cavs better. And I'm curious to see what they do from here. I know we'll get to that a little bit in the fill in the blank segment way later in the show. Mm-hmm. But I think it was kind of a necessary move. I think you start to hear things like he lost the locker room.
Yeah.
And there's usually no coming back from that.
I noticed something on Twitter, that floated around that Jarrett Allen unfollowed the Cavs and things like that.
Yeah.
Am I reading too much into that?
No, I saw that, and I think that's true. And I saw a lot of people said oh, well, who knows if he ever followed the Cavs in the first place.
That's fair.
Yeah. Pretty confident that he unfollowed them. But who knows? I mean, it's an emotionally charged. They lost. Let's put it what it is. They lost and they were embarrassed. You don't want guys being happy about that. I'm sure there are some pretty upset individuals in that locker room. So yeah, I'm sure he wanted to just get the Cavs off his feed for a little while and maybe tossed him the unfollow with that. And who knows? Maybe they have bigger decisions coming. Kobe Altman met with the media Friday. And he kind of made it seem like they're confident in the players that they have, and they just want a new leader, a new change of a voice kind of at the helm. So we'll see, as they start to make some of those decisions with the roster, are the core four pieces all still safe? Kobe Altman says yes. As I tell you guys on the show all the time, follow their actions, not their words, because we've heard people say that, oh, for sure, he'll be around, and then gets traded a couple weeks later. So nothing is ever finite.
No one's nothing's ever set in stone.
No, not at all.
Who would you like to see at head coach?
That's a good question, man. We'll jump into it.
Okay.
I have a couple different
I'm skipping ahead.
Options to float out there, just because I definitely think that this is a decision that can't come lightly, and I don't think it can come quickly. It might need to come quickly because there's not a whole lot of great candidates left out there, Gab. But I think in terms of who I want I want and I need the guy to be as good as JB Bickerstaff or better. And if you look at JB Bickerstaff, he got us through the progressions of what you want to see a rebuilding NBA team do. They made the play-in tournament. Then they made the first round of the playoffs. Then they made the second round of the playoffs. You know, he was taking all the right steps. So you can't take a step backwards now with this next person that you hire, or else you're kind of set up poorly. So I think this is a big decision. It's not one to be taken lightly. You have a team that's ready to compete. They said that was a lot of the gripes with JB Bickerstaff, was some of the veterans in there felt like he babied them at times, and like, we're going to take the slow steps throughout the process. Whereas you've got guys like Donovan Mitchell who believe, no, I'm a superstar. I'm ready to compete for a championship right now. And I think the coach that they hire needs to have that similar ideology of, this is a team that's not just a young, fun, punchy team, but a team that's to be taken seriously and to compete in this Eastern Conference.
Totally.
So big undertaking to find that person. I'm glad it's not my job to figure that out. I'll tell you that much. I have got a couple ideas, but I'm not sure any of them are good.
Okay. All right. Well, we can get into it a little bit later. I think let's take our first break of the show, and we want to come back with our Garage featured interview. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. It is time for our Garage Beer featured interview. Nick and I are super excited to bring in person, mind you. We've got Browns rookie wide receiver Jamari Thrash. Thanks so much for coming down.
I'm happy to be here.
Were you surprised? We always ask people this. What's your reaction when you walked in?
So I actually called Nick. I got an Uber here, and actually called Nick. I was like, hey, like, y'all, am I going to the right spot? Is this the airport? He was like, yeah, like, just when you come here, just get to the front, call me, and I'll let you in. I was like, cool. But yeah, I got a nice little setup in here.
Yeah, it's a unique spot for sure. All right, Jamari, walk us through the day that you were drafted. Where were you at? How'd you find out? How'd you celebrate, the moment that you became a Cleveland Brown?
So, day 3, we all waiting. Family, friends, cousins, uncles, aunties. We all sitting there waiting. We're watching the draft in the living room. I'm in Atlanta, matter of fact, watching the draft. So time slowly going by. I'm not getting picked. So to take my mind off it, I go upstairs. I play Madden. I'm playing Madden with my homeboys. We sitting up playing, just waiting on the phone call. So time's still going by. So I sit in the living room. I sit beside my brother. My brother, I'm going to his wedding tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, matter of fact. Sitting there talking to him. So my agent comes to tell me, he said, hey, like, you're one of the best receivers still on the board left. So he was like, you could easily go to these next couple teams. So I show my brother, I pull up the list. The Patriots was on the clock. The Browns were next. And it was like the Carolina Panthers, the Cowboys, and the list kept going on. So I told my brother, I'm like, look, like, I could possibly go to one of these teams. And as soon as I said that, like, I got a real Ohio number. And I'm like, who could this be? So I answer. It's the Cleveland Browns. We finna FaceTime me. I'm like, cool. So go upstairs, trying to grab my hat, trying to make sure I'm ready for, when that time comes. So I'm on FaceTime with Mr. Barry, and I got on the phone with Coach Stefanski. Or not Coach, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Stefanski. Yeah, they called me. Then I make sure I'm just getting ready, and then they call my name on the TV, and everybody just went crazy.
Did you, before the draft, have a feeling that the Browns might draft you?
I mean, not necessarily. I did, but I didn't, because I talked to them at the combine. And that was it. I didn't really hear from them too much after that. I was hearing from a lot of other teams, so my interest was probably going towards the other teams that was talking to me more. But when I got that phone call from Cleveland, I was like, okay, like they still like me a little bit.
For sure.
That's such a weird process, like the whole thing. You know what I mean?
They definitely do sometimes keep you in the dark. Well, we're glad to have you here. First week in Cleveland. What's it been like? How well have you had the opportunity to get to know the city a little bit in this first week? Any first impressions so far?
Man, I ain't been able to do nothing. The only thing I've been doing is going to the hotel and back to the facility. So
he's been grinding.
Yeah, I've been grinding every day. But we had a couple second-year players. They took us out to eat. Grill 55, or is it 55 Grill?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I don't know.
I don't know which way it is.
Is that out near the facility?
It's somewhere downtown.
Oh, it's downtown.
So they took us out to eat there. I had a good little meal there. Town Hall. Been to Town Hall.
Oh,
Town
yeah.
Hall was
Okay.
pretty
It's a
cool.
staple.
Yeah, you're starting to hit the staples.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And they took us to the Guardians game.
Okay.
They took us to the Guardians game last week, and I had fun at that game too. That was my first official baseball game. So I had pretty fun. I pretty much sat there and watched them guys play, and they won. They hit the home runner for the game winner.
Was that the game
The
that Zach
walk-off.
Zinner was there? Zach and Mike Hall?
Yeah, they
pregame?
threw their first pitch.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I missed you then. I was working that game. That was a good one.
Yeah.
The Will Brennan walk-off.
Uh-huh.
Good game for you guys. So you stayed till the end.
No, I actually left in the 6th inning, but I heard about it.
Okay. Dang.
And that was your first ever baseball game?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great first baseball game.
In
to be
general?
honest.
Yeah. So I always wish I would have played baseball growing up, but I couldn't never get into the rules and all of that. So yeah, that was my first baseball game I went to.
Well, you're super athletic. Were there any other sports you played growing up? Any track guy? Anything?
Track and basketball. I wish I would have played soccer when I was little, because I feel like that would help me with my footwork.
Okay.
Got me a head start on my footwork, but I just did basketball, track, and football.
What were your events in track?
I ran the 100, 200. I did the high jump. I did the triple jump. I did the 4x. I did the 4x1, 2, and I did the 400 one time.
I was gonna say Coach had to make you do at least 1-4.
Yeah, I ain't doing that no more. I learned my lesson.
Not even on the relay.
No.
Oh. Every true sprinter, 100, 200.
Yeah, I'm
just
a sprinter.
dreads the 4.
Yeah.
You mentioned some of the second-year guys kind of taking you guys out to dinner. Which, I guess, veterans have been around? You know, who have you kind of got the opportunity to meet so far? Any like cool advice that's kind of been given to you? I know that it's so early in all this.
Probably said Tillman, second-year guy. He kind of brought me under his wing. James Prochet, he brought me under his wing, teach me a lot. I actually watched film of him today. Who else? I actually got to kick it with. I talked to Greg Newsom yesterday, MJ Emerson. You know, those guys are gonna help me get better a lot. So I just asked them throughout practice, you know, hey, what I could have did better on this route. You know, they'll tell me, and they told me, you know, they like that. So just iron sharpen iron. So really just trying to feel my way and just get better as an individual player.
For sure. And then your rookie class will be the first rookie class that gets to wear the helmet. In my opinion, the best form of it with the new white face mask. Last year it was a brown face mask. What was kind of your, what did it feel like to put that jersey on, the uniform on for the first time? And then we already had an opportunity to see some highlights of you on the social media streets of catching some passes with the new white face mask.
Yeah, it's kind of still surreal. Like, it didn't really hit me until I got up here. Like, even when I got drafted, it didn't really hit me until I got up here. Like, okay, like now I'm a Cleveland Brown. Like, this is actually my job now. So I'm still trying to take everything a day at a time. But I mean, it's always a good feeling just knowing, you know, where you come from. A lot of people, you know, want to be in these shoes. And I actually talked to like one of my childhood friends yesterday. And, you know, he reminded me, you know, how blessed I was to be in this situation.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I know, too, like, with you kind of transferring for that last year and playing that last year at Louisville, how do you think that helped you prepare, you know, to get to this spot now into the National Football League?
It definitely helped me be able to showcase my skills on a higher level, being able to play on TV a lot more, going against, you know, ranked teams, and just being able to show, you know, I actually can play football, not only on a smaller but on a higher level as well. So I think that helped me get to where I'm at today.
As a player, how did you get to wide receiver? Have you always played that position?
Nah, I was always a running back. I played running back all the way into probably high school. So when I got to high school, I was like, okay, I can't play running back. Like, these guys kind of big. Like, I was like, nah, I got to switch positions. So I was a corner. I was corner my freshman year. I played corner and receiver, but I was mainly a corner. I got moved up to receiver. I got moved up to varsity as a corner. So, you know, you go to scout team O. So I go to scout team O, and I just started getting better at receiver. And so over time, I just started being more of a dominant receiver than I was a corner.
Hey, if you can catch the ball. Not everybody can do it the other way around.
Right,
You know?
right.
Hanford Dixon, we have a show with him, and he always says he had to play corner because he couldn't catch.
Yeah, for sure. Have you felt any of the adjustments yet from like the college game to the pro game just through the first couple of days of OTAs?
Yeah, so OTAs, I learned everything's a lot faster. Guys are a lot more physical. Linebackers, they're a lot faster. Like, some linebackers look like DBs, but, you know, they could hit, they're faster. But just the speed of the game, that's something that I learned probably throughout this first week OTAs. Like, you know, I'm playing fast, but they're playing faster. So just picking up on the speed and terminology and just being able to dissect the defense, I feel like that's something that I'm still trying to learn and adjust to right now.
How about the workload too? Like, has that been dramatic for you, or is it about the same?
It ain't too crazy. I don't want to say it's the same neither. It's a little bit more, but it's not too crazy.
Good, for sure. Alrighty, we're gonna step aside. We're gonna take a quick break. When we return, we're gonna go rapid fire. Some quick questions with Jamari Thrash. Don't go anywhere. More of the Big Play Cleveland show right after this.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. We are still here. We've got Jamari Thrash in studio. Did we want to do our rapid fire?
Yeah, Jamari, you want to do a new segment with us? We've never done this before. Presented by Garage Beer.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. We got a quick rapid fire 15-pack of questions for you. We'll go super fast, like one-word answers, one phrase. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Oh, I can't read from that far. You go.
All right. Gold or silver?
Gold.
Favorite pregame meal? Spaghetti. All right. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Ooh.
Shop online or in store?
In person. In store.
Most famous person in your phone?
Deshaun Watson.
Wow. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
Steak or sushi?
Steak.
Funniest rookie on the team?
Bookie Watson.
Is Donovan Mitchell coming back to the Cavs?
I hope so.
Beach or pool?
Pool.
Apples or peaches?
Peaches.
If you could only keep one, Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
Team Drake or Team Kendrick?
I've always been a Drake fan, so I'll say Drake.
Wow. All right, cool. That was it. That was our rapid fire.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. No, it's good to get to know you guys a little bit.
Yeah,
is there
sure.
anything else that, like, do you have any hidden talents or maybe a hobby you're super interested in that nobody knows about?
Nah, I'm more of a like a family oriented, like I'm a chill, laid back kind of guy. Like I ain't gonna really do too much, but I feel like I'm starting to get out of my shell a lot more too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be intimidating a little bit, because, I mean, it's NFL and just the players that are in the NFL. Do you ever feel a little, not starstruck, but...
Yeah, like, because it's crazy because, like, when Judy first came back to practice, I'm like I'm really practicing with Jerry Judy. Like, I used to watch this man high school highlights, his college film, it kind of get like this, too.
Do you get nervous? Like, how do you keep your composure, and feel like... or look like you belong and, have that calmness, I guess?
I mean, I just try to be myself. I don't try to get too big but it's, at the same time, I realize, they're human just like me. We're all here for a reason. So all I can really do is just sit back and learn from those guys and really just, dissect, their brains and their type of play style.
And then we were talking too, speaking of just like things to be nervous about, heading back home for a wedding, and then you kind of got it sprung on you that you got to give a speech. How's the speech writing going? is that something that you're cool with? Because like I know a lot of people write, like when you have to give a speech, you got to like speak in front of, whether it's like for school, like some people get funny about that.
What is this? The best man speech? Ooh,
wow. that's a big
one.
Big
one to bring on somebody.
Big one, yeah.
I got a flight later, so I'm gonna have to do all that when I get on the flight. I have 2 hours to think about it and write it down, so I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Listen, the shorter the better.
Yeah.
You know
all
what
right,
I mean?
we got some advice. Shorter the better.
Yeah, the shorter the better.
Some people try to get up there too and be like the jokester, and I feel like that doesn't
just
always
depends.
plays.
It
Yeah,
just
like
depends.
yeah.
Maybe sprinkle some in. I don't know. Now you got to record it so we can see it.
Yeah, we definitely got to get some footage of it.
But I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to be too emotional. Like, I don't know what to say.
Older brother? Or?
Yeah, older.
Okay.
I feel like I am the older brother.
Yeah, you got to think funny stories.
So I'm the older brother. I have a younger brother, and like I guess what I would want him to say. I'm with Gab. You got to keep it like short and not like too super short, but like you definitely don't want to be up there rambling.
Yeah, sometimes the ramblers.
The ramblers get
It
tough.
gets a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, like I start wanting to like flick the lights sometimes, like wrap it up. So I would say keep it short, and then to try to like maybe like start with like a funny memory, and then just wish him and his new wife luck in their ventures and wrap it up. That's my biggest.
Do you know
thing.
the wife pretty well, or the?
Like so when they got married around the time that they met, I was in Louisville.
Okay.
So I didn't really get to meet her. Like she came to my draft. She came to my draft party.
Okay, so we got a little time to get to know her a little.
Yeah, I only probably been around her probably like 3 or 4 times. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's a tall order.
So I think we definitely got to play it safe though on the speech.
Yeah.
Like
over under 5 minutes. 6 minutes. I don't know. I've seen long
I'd say
ones.
about 3.
Yeah. No, I like where you're
that.
at because to do its due diligence, I think maybe 5 and under is perfect.
Yeah. How about and another thing we were talking about too before the show, just kind of the sports world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you growing up in Georgia, Anthony Edwards, kind of becoming the face of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's been cool to see. Any thoughts on the Western Conference Finals on Ant himself? Because we were talking about that you guys went to high school, kind of like similar proximity.
Nah, like Anthony, he from Atlanta. I'm from LaGrange.
Okay.
So, but you always see those type of guys like the highlights and stuff online.
Yeah.
So,
especially like as a young, people don't realize too, like the young guys now, like those highlights are everywhere throughout their high school days.
So like, I grew up a Curry fan, so I'm a big Curry guy anyway. So, but like knowing Ant from Georgia, like we're just happy for we want him to win anyway, just because he's from Georgia.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you always got to root for the hometown guy. We've been blessed here in Cleveland. Like you'll probably learn pretty quickly. Like LeBron around here, huge deal. Hometown guy, won it for our Cavs. A lot of battles with Curry. 2016 was a lot of fun for us. But it's going to be awesome to have you guys in this Cleveland community. Talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to out of this rookie season. What do you hope that you could walk away from your rookie season in the NFL? What's one thing that you're hoping to really get out of it?
That's a great.
I know
question.
that's a good question. Yeah, that's kind of a big
question.
one.
Probably just a better player, to be honest with you. Better player, better man, smarter. That's pretty much it, to be honest.
For sure.
I just want to be a better player and a better man around this time next year.
Yeah, definitely. You're in a great spot. Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. You're going to be in a fun offense. We're expecting to see some fireworks.
Last thing. You already have a sick name. Do you have like any nicknames? Do we need to have a nickname for you? Do you think as the season progresses, some guys end up getting one, but your last name is already cool enough. Do you anticipate having a nickname?
Nah. I feel like my last name is just pretty cool, but hopefully I get on the field and make plays, and hopefully something to happen after that. But
Thrash, like I'm just trying to think what might
brainstorm it.
Twitter
We can brainstorm it.
X come up with.
Yeah, see what the social media streets think.
We'll leave it to the moment.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We leave it to the moment. Jamari, we appreciate you popping in here with us, man.
I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Most definitely.
After some big catches.
Yeah, you definitely belong. So thanks for giving us your time, and go crush the rest of all the stuff you guys got going.
Yeah. OTAs, preseason, get right
training camp. Got a lot going, but yeah, hopefully, we can go in there and we crush it, and I can learn a lot from this first year.
For sure. Jamari, appreciate you hopping in here with us. We'll do it again soon.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. We are going to chat a little baseball now. Our Guardians have been hot. I love that the weather is already cooperating with us finally, and it feels like baseball season is really here. We're going to bring in Jensen Lewis, of course, as we do every week, bring in the heat to chat about, maybe this state of our team. We like to do little check-ins. We already know April is overreaction month, but Jensen, what are your thoughts on this hot Guards team so far?
Yeah, Gab, I think the headlines are first and foremost Stephen Vogt and the job that he's done in his first year of managing at any level, let alone at the big league level. And to come in, filling in for who's going to be a first-time Hall of Famer, or first ballot Hall of Famer, I should say, in Terry Francona, the legacy that he had put together here, and just the seamless transition that it's been on top of the success that the entirety of the group has had up to this point. it says so much about what Stephen Vogt means, not only as a person, but the culture that he's been able to proliferate. I think the other part too is the back end of this bullpen, knowing you weren't going to have Trevor Stephan, Sam Hentges was on the IL to start the year, and to have Hunter Gaddis, Nick Sandlin, Tim Herron, Cade Smith, Scott Barlow all step up and really be able to shorten games to protect a rotation that I think at the beginning of spring training, this front office and coaching staff were really going to be conservative with. It has really worked out, maybe even better than the entirety of this group thought it would. The other side of this is the offense, and to be a top 5 scoring offense, top 10 in homers. Remember, this was a group that finished dead last year in that power department. Those things coming all together in the first month and a half, maybe the first 2 full months of this season to be where they are. I'm not sure anyone outside the organization thought that this would be possible.
I know. I mean, really, they're hot all the way around.
And it's been so fun because, and I feel like we just keep talking about this because we've been so accustomed, Jensen, to the slow starts. And we know, like, once the weather heats up, they'll always catch up. And, in a weird American League Central Division, you could always make some magic happen throughout the summer. But it feels like this year has been especially fun because now the Guardians are the team that's out to the hot start right out of the gate. How special is that? And do you think that it's something that they can sustain now that we're really starting to hit some of these dog days of summer, now that the calendar is getting ready to flip to June?
Yeah, Nick, I think the thing that sticks out first is you look at how a team plays at home, and what is it, 7 consecutive home series that they've won. Obviously, sweeping this past homestand will help augment that statistic. But this is a group that has always benefited from having the last at bat. We kind of dubbed them the Guardiac Kids a couple years ago, and they're showing that never say die attitude yet again. I look at them from a body language standpoint, Nick, and they really exude a confidence. Like, you can look at a team across the way and be like, yeah, we got them. They're done. Like, if you get ahead early, they kind of just tuck tail and run. I've never gotten a sense from this group, no matter the deficit, and more so whenever they've been ahead, whether it be by a run, whether it be by 5 or 6, there's a sense of urgency here. And I'll go back to something Austin Hedges said. They play every game like it's a playoff game. And when you have that kind of mentality, you're going to be hard to beat. I don't care who you have. When you feel like you don't have tomorrow and you play it like an October atmosphere every single night, first, that's hard to replicate. Second, to be able to execute the way that they have, I mean, that's a credit to the leadership. That's also indicative of young guys growing up very quickly and understanding what's expected of them. And, the old Bill Belichick line, do your job. Every guy has done their job. They've been a piece of the puzzle. And I think to a man, every guy feels equally as responsible for the success so far here in 2024.
Do your job. I will say, even in the times when they've had some interesting flubs late in the game when we've been up and it's a no-brainer win, what's cool, though, is they bring that composure back together and they win. And that is like a quality you just have to have, because it doesn't matter what the first 3 quarters of the game looked like. Can you finish? I think something even happened with this team in the last month, because the Yankees came like April 14th was like our last game, somewhere around there, middle of April. And I feel like if we played the Yankees right now, Jensen, I don't know, compared to like a little over a month ago, I just kind of feel like we'd even see a different team right now playing the Yankees.
Yeah, Gab, it may come down to it here. And ironically, I think it's later in the year when the Guardians will head to the Bronx and play the Yankees. And I'll keep my fingers crossed. I hope it is a postseason preview, because, we're not, a year or 2 removed from looking at the infamous, rain out that ended up pushing that back and allowing those guys the extra day to get Clay Holmes in the back of their bullpen an extra day of rest. So, I think there's some vengeance on the mind there in that clubhouse and that front office to say, all right, we want another crack at these guys, and there's nothing better than beating the evil empire in October. But first things first, you got to be able to get through this division that, as we said at the beginning of the year, was going to be way, way better than what it had been the last couple of seasons. Kansas City is a perfect example of that. I still think we hear from Detroit moving forward. Obviously, Minnesota is the defending AL Central champ. They just They have not been able to put it together offensively just of yet, but they're too good of a pitching staff to have this thing really fall apart. So this is the beauty of the marathon. You've started well, which affords you the opportunity to maybe have a slip up here or there. But as long as they keep putting series victories together, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah.
What's so fun too, like about the Yankees' potential rematch in the playoffs is it's a lot of those same guys. I know you said, some vengeance in that clubhouse, a lot of the same characters, Stephen Kwan, Jose Ramirez. I think when I think about what a potential rematch could look like, Jensen, I remember the 2022 trade deadline. A lot of fans were wanting, begging, imploring to see the Guardians add a big bat at that point in the deadline. Do you think, obviously we have a little bit of time until the deadline this season, that maybe the Guardians could be buyers for the first time in a really long time to try to add a complementary piece to this really nice puzzle that they found a way to fill out so early in this season?
Yeah, and Nick, it's probably a bit too early to kind of start thinking about that, but I think you start, and I think your question is warranted because this is right around the time where you're going to look at the next 4 to 6 weeks, and there'll be a significant evaluation period for guys like Kyle Manzardo, perhaps for some other young players, some young pitchers, specifically in the rotation. You're hoping that this rotation stays healthy, through the first half of the season, and what we hope through the trade deadline. For the first time, though, I think in quite some time, this is an organization that if we maintain where we're at, whether it be in first base or whether it be, within a couple of games of a playoff spot, this might be the first time we look at adding a significant starting pitcher. I'm not going to say it's a number one or number two or anything like that, but someone else to help lengthen the rotation behind what you hope is a healthy Tanner Bybee, a healthy Tristan McKenzie, and maybe a healthy Gavin Williams and Logan Allen, Ben Lively. You want to accumulate as much starting pitching depth, but you also need guys that can generate swing and miss. And you take the Yankees, for example, they're going to try and hit the ball out of the ballpark. They got a bunch of sluggers in the middle there. Same thing can be said for Baltimore. You look over at Houston, who's been there for the last 6 to 7 straight years to the ALCS. That's the recipe for success in October. Your own club has to be able to hit the long ball, and that's the difference for Cleveland so far this year. You'd love to get another middle-of-the-order bat to help out with Andres Jimenez and Jose and Josh and David Fry and Will Brennan, kind of coming on the scene here as of late. If Kyle Manzardo is another piece there, it just gives this front office a lot more opportunity to be creative in what they want to do. They don't necessarily have to make a move, but you would definitely believe that they'll be in on a lot of conversations if they're at this same juncture in first place or right there in the playoff picture come July 30th.
Is there any player that's kind of surprised you so far 2 months in?
Well, I think David Fry. I don't know if any of us could thought that he would
We
just
love
be
to talk about David Fry.
Our social guy, our big play social guy, Rob Watson, called it from when Fry was hitting, really well last year. He fell in love with him.
He showed us.
I will give our social guy credit. Rob Watson, basketball guy, Jensen, not a huge baseball supporter. He has been on David Fry.
He just reminds me, guys, of high school baseball in the summer, when you're on your travel team and you got a guy who shows up and everybody likes him. He cracks the right jokes. He knows when to say things. And I know Hedgie kind of is that guy for us in this clubhouse, but David Fry brings another element that you just feel good around. You feel good when he comes to the plate. You feel good when his intro song gets played and his name gets announced. There's just something about it. And I think, Gab, to answer your question, that's probably the one guy on the position player side. I think also on the bullpen side, Hunter Gaddis, and take it from someone who used to be a setup guy, used to be a closer, pitching in those innings. It's not easy to transfer from being a starter and really have as dominant a stuff probably from day one in a leverage position, in a setup position in front of Emmanuel Clase. And he's made it look easy for most of the year. Yeah, the hiccup, in the Atlanta series and that road trip. But outside of that, guys, he has been just shut down. And Nick Sandlin, he deserves his roses as well for what he's done. Tim Herron, also, guys, go look at the numbers. Him and Clase are off to historic starts as far as, the few amount of runs that they've given up, plus the strikeouts. It's so cool. And again, I'm biased as a bullpen guy, but it's so cool to see those guys be as successful at such young junctures of their career. That just doesn't happen. And so now you start to feel like, all right, is this a team of destiny? Is this 2016 all over again, where they were doubted going into the postseason? Boston was supposed to handle them. They go in and sweep them at Fenway Park. Toronto was supposed to the team that represented the American League. They almost swept them. And then they go up against Chicago, who they were underdogs against, even though they had home field advantage, and they take it to 7 games in the World Series. So way, way too early to look at that. But you start to pick out things where it really lets you know, as someone who's been through the game and seen things, you're like, this isn't normal. This is special.
Something's happening.
Yeah, and I think they've got the right recipe so far. Let's see what happens. You never want adversity to hit, but I think they still need one more significant adversity test through this year. I don't know when it's going to happen, but remember last year's 2 World Series teams, guys, Arizona and Texas, they were out of the playoff picture middle of August. They were out. If the playoffs started then, they were out.
Yep.
And then they really got hot, and they got hot at the right time to take it all the way to the Fall Classic. I hope that doesn't have to be us, because we don't need anyone going, to the hospital for heart attacks or anything. But I think this is a special group. There's certain markers here so far that give you that feeling like 2024 could be a season to remember.
Since you mentioned it, and I know it is still very early, but Emmanuel Clase had a 3.22 ERA and 12 blown saves last year. I mean, his ERA is just he's point, I won't say exactly, but let's say 0.5 by the time this airs or whatever. What do you think the biggest difference for him is?
Honestly, Gab, for elite guys in the back end of bullpens, you have to have the shortest of memories. And even when you're going on a great streak like he is, I wouldn't shock me if he comes to the ballpark every day and it's opening day in his mind. He's 0-0. Nothing's happened up to this point. He's got to go out and prove that he's the best guy every day. And I think he firmly believes that he's got the best stuff in the league. He's certainly showing it. Outside of Mason Miller for what he's done in Oakland, Emmanuel Clase is the best reliever in baseball in 2024. And that is heady praise for a guy that, as you mentioned, last year, he went through it. But remember all the one-run, what they play, 50-some-odd one-run games last year, and he was in a bunch of them. Sometimes those games are coin flips, like a bad hop one way, a call you don't get, and the 1-1 count ends up turning in at bat. I mean, those are things that add up. But I give him a ton of credit for going through the offseason, for continuing to refine his craft. This might be the best iteration of Emmanuel Clase we've seen in his Cleveland career.
Wow. High praise for Emmanuel Clase. High marks really all around for our Guardians.
We need that, because remember it was Andrew Miller 2016, and it was just like you had so much confidence in this guy, and we really need that.
Yep.
If we have all these aspirations like Jensen was just manifesting for us.
I love it. The Gardos vibes are high. Jensen, I appreciate you joining us as always.
You got it, guys. We'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. Alrighty, we will step aside. A lot of great stuff from Jensen Lewis right there. When we return on the Big Play Cleveland show, we'll hit you guys with some fill in the blank. But man, I'm riding high.
I'm
excited. Just goosebumps talking about that 2016 run and what could be for our Guardians this year. We'll keep that Guardian convo alive and get to some more Cavs with our fill in the blank. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. We are almost done. Got to give a shout out to Ryan, because our producer has been on top of stuff today. It's been kind of a weird day, but we've gotten a lot done, and it's time for a little fill in the blank, Nick.
Love it.
The Cavs' next head coach should be
is tough. I would love it to be JJ Redick. I really would. I think that bridges the gap home to LeBron James. This Eastern Conference right now is as wide open as it's ever been. The Celtics continue to play down to their competition. They look to be really good, but I feel like a combination of LeBron James, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell would have the Cavs right back in that NBA Finals conversation. I thought it was interesting. Kobe Altman, Gab, in his press release that they fired JB Bickerstaff, said at times throughout a rebuild, risky, aggressive moves are needed to be made. Right. And that was part of the reason why they fired JB. Well, a risky, aggressive move, the riskiest, the most aggressive, would be to hire somebody with no coaching experience and to try to get LeBron back in a Cavalier uniform. That would be JJ Redick. It's risky, but I think it could happen. He's gotten a bunch of other head coach interviews. I think he's the front runner right now for the Laker job. So we got to see what happens there.
Right. And, I mean, look what Stephen Vogt has done in Cleveland, and he had no managerial experience. So stranger things have happened.
That is true.
I know you've gotten off the wall kind of choice.
I think it's fun to look at off the wall choices for the Cavs because they like to do off the wall sort of things. I thought it was crazy that the two names that were floated were retread coaches, Kenny Atkinson and James Borrego, who have been head coaches and failed head coaches before. That's something that Dan Gilbert usually doesn't like to do. Dan Gilbert hired Byron Scott as a retread coach. That was only after he couldn't hire Tom Izzo away from Michigan State. We also saw him hire John Beilein from Michigan over a plenty of other qualified NBA-ready head coaches. So I would for sure look for the Cavs to do something crazy, something off the wall. It fits their DNA of who they are when they hire these coaches. Right. And the craziest name that I could think of,
one outside-the-box candidate, the Cavs for the Cavs job I'd like to see.
The craziest that I could think of is Kim Mulkey. And at some point, there's going to be a woman head coach in the NBA. I'm being so serious. And you look at the Cavs, very progressive organization. They've had Lindsey Gottlieb as a lead assistant before. Now, Coach Gottlieb is committed to the USC women's hoops, and she's going to be there for quite some time. She just inked an extension through 2030. Becky Hammon, another woman that has NBA coaching experience. Well, she's got the Las Vegas Aces as back-to-back NBA champions. It feels like those are the two most qualified women coaches to take the leap to the NBA. And who's next? Kim Mulkey. She's got a fat contract at LSU. She's probably not going anywhere, but it's only got a $2 million buyout. So the logistics to get her to the NBA would be realistic. There was just a kind of a hit piece that was put out on her that I know she wasn't a big fan of. Maybe she could eye a departure from the college game. We know a lot of coaches are trying to get out of college sports just because of the wildness of NIL. Kim Mulkey would be nuts, but I think the Cavs are nuts, and it wouldn't surprise me.
She would be a little nuts. Her Fit Fridays would be
the Fit Fridays
nuts.
would be
I don't
awesome.
know if she fits our culture, really.
I think she would. I think the Cavs need a woman from the South to come in and lay down the law.
You know what? Maybe you're right.
They're kind of soft at times, and I think she could come in with those crazy pink outfits and lay down how things are going to go. It would be nuts. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not imploring for it to happen, but you ask me for an off-the-wall candidate, and that is the most off-the-wall candidate that I can think of.
Fair enough. On that note, let's take a break. We'll be back with Big Play Bets.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland show, where our bets this week and every week are brought to you by our friends at Tipico Sportsbook. Download the Tipico Sportsbook app now and bet on baseball with us. The Guardians are one of the most fun teams in the MLB. If you live in Ohio, you should be betting on them at Tipico. When you bet $30 on the Guardians, you're going to get $2 bet credit for every hit the Guardians have throughout the game. So you start to work and get that $30 bet back as the game is going on with $2 bet credits for every hit. You got to be 21 years or older to gamble in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, Nick, let's chat a little tennis, shall we?
Let's do it.
The French Open. Who are you taking to win the men's French Open?
I think you got to go with Novak. You got to go with the guy that's done it before. The old GOAT is going to try to get it done again at the French Open. He's been around the block a bajillion different times. tennis, especially some of these big tournaments like the French Open, experience matters. He's one of the favorites for a reason, so I will go with Novak to win the men's side.
Alrighty, how about on the women's side? And then I'm going to share with you a little theory I have with betting on tennis.
I love it. Okay, on the women's side, I'm going to go with Coco Gauff. She hasn't been that hot. That's tough in tennis to kind of catch fire, but I'm going to bet on the American here in the French Open. Give me Coco Gauff.
All right, Coco
Give me your
Gauff.
quick 30-second theory on tennis.
Quick theory, you can watch some of the games live in the app, and I have a theory that you can just tell by body language who's going to win. I've bet many a times, and actually the person who is like sulking or getting angry or whatever, I'm always like, please don't be the person I just bet on, because sometimes I don't know the people even. And yeah, you got to go with body language. The most confident looking person, they're the winner.
All righty, good tennis betting advice from Gab. We will have some fun betting the French Open. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We'll see you next week.